anything.
Well, then we're happy. Then we're happy you didn't attend North Platte Public Schools.
I think you and I'll feel lady in that.
Yeah. What were they thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 1 minute. Okay, time.
Good morning. Welcome to the Budget of Expenditures and Property Tax Request. This is a follow-up to our budget hearing, which we held on August 29th. Roll call, Sheila.
Angela Blasey. Mark Nicholson. Matthew Peterson.
Present.
Skip Altig.
Present.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Present.
Ivan Mitchell.
I would move to excuse Ivan Mitchell and Angela Blasey.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to excuse 2 members. Roll call, Sheila.
Mark Nicholson.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Skip Altig.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
All right. The Nebraska's Opens Meeting Act legislates the methods by which public meetings are conducted. Information pertaining to this act is posted on the back wall of the boardroom. If you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We put you down when you got here.
Yeah, I did. You're here now.
Time for public comment. Public questions and comments may take place at this time in the agenda. Individuals who want to address the board must complete a guidelines for public comments form with a date, topic addressing, name, address, and name of any organization you represent, and give it to the board clerk prior to the meeting.
I have none.
All right. We'll move on to action items. Mr. Simpson.
I'm assuming the first one is closer. I remember.
I think I have.
The document that you had displayed. How much budget we and accordingly the Oh, sorry, Kyle. I apologize. And then along with that, then we also have bonds in the QC Puff Fund so that we can continue to pay those off over the course of the next 3 to 4 years. With that, you can see the detail, but the total overall district budget for next year is 67.2 million at this point in time.
Sorry, I was messing around you.
You were fine at the first one.
Look, I got it. But you said the first document isn't really the
Yeah.
right document, so I was confused.
Oh, that one. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
So. Any questions from board members?
No, I think you, when we had the meeting on August 29th, this was thoroughly gone through.
Right.
And then, of course, we've had time to look at it since then. So I don't have any.
Stuart, I think at that meeting, I think it was, I had asked about the percentage of we know the percentage of our budget that goes to salaries and other costs associated with employment. And I think then I had asked about the percentage of that percentage that is set through negotiated agreements and things like that. And since that time, I believe you have calculated that. Is that true?
That is true. And Dr. Rhodes had sent that out on a weekly update. And if you'll give me a minute, I will look that up at this point and pull that back in.
And the reason I bring it up is because, you know, we talk a lot, I think it's 80, what is it, 83%? That's, and then of that 83%, a portion of that, which Stuart will tell us is set through negotiated agreements, which we have some, I guess, determination of what those valuations are, but a lot of that's set by CIR at the state level. So we have to be within that certain percentages, what is it, 97 to 103%, I think, of what the CIR shows. So, I mean, a large portion of it is something that we really don't have too much control over. So we obviously do everything we can on our end to control costs through the things we can do, but a lot of it is dictated by at the state level.
Yeah.
Right.
State statute, in terms of your comparability, you have to be within that 98 to 102% is where you need to fall. So yeah, we don't have a lot of wiggle room in terms of particularly certificated staff. And then also understand that our paraprofessionals are considered a unionized organization as well.
On that, Matt, 83% of our total general fund is expended towards salaries and fringe benefits. Of that, 59.3% of the total is negotiated salaries for certified and para salaries, which we have, which really is set by what we negotiate. And then in the process, I also noted we have less control over 40.7%, which is classified substitutes and professionals not certified. And we have a little bit control, but we still have to pay for FICA, retirement, and healthcare that we provide employees at this point in time.
Thanks
The
for
other-
researching that. I think that's
Yes.
good information to have.
And then also along with that, we had another question from Angela in regards to professional development, and we don't identify it within the scope of how the object codes come out for the district, but we do have it identified within salaries that we support our teachers through curriculum development, or within contracted services where we bring in get your teach on the people to help our staff grow in development. So with that, we expend 1.4 million toward PD in some process, which is about 2.7% of the general fund. So I wanted to make sure we had addressed both of those from the last budget meeting.
I would move to adopt the 2022-2023 budget as presented.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Roll call, Sheila.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Altig.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Mark Nicholson.
Okay.
On the second document that we have to respond to is our tax request. Even though we know where our levy will be, we only request the total amount of property taxes to support the school district. With that, the county sets the levy accordingly after October 13th, which is dictated by statute. But for us, the district will need 27.2 million to support our general fund operations, which as we look at it, and I think we were making a note, we have our budget is about 50% supported by property taxes, our general fund budget. And then from there, about 10.5 million is state aid. And then after that, we have special ed receipts and a few other receipts coming in from the county or other entities in support of the remaining share of the budget. The building fund, we are of 790,000. That will go toward roofs and infrastructure repair at some of our other buildings that we're not doing HVAC work. And then finally, the QC Puff will pay off the bonds and interest that we use to do Cody, Buffalo, Washington, and Lincoln HVACs about 8 years ago.
And the lake bond will be finished in December, correct?
Correct. The lake bond will be paid off in December, and the way property taxes come in and how we were budgeting, we have approximately at this point in time 137,000 in reserves to pay off the last payment of the bond for Lake Maloney.
Okay, thank you.
And will not be levying anything against lake residents. So now it's only relative to K-12 education.
All right, bear with me. Whereas Nebraska Revised Statute 77-1632 and 77-1633 provides that the governing body of North Platte Public Schools passes by a majority vote a resolution or ordinance setting the tax request, and whereas a special public hearing was held as required by law to hear and consider comments concerning the property tax request. Now, therefore, the governing body of North Platte Public Schools resolves that 1, the 2022-2023 property tax request be set at general fund $27,214,640, bond fund $0, special building fund $797,980, qualified capital purpose fund $1,015,954, and undertaking fund $0. 2, the total assessed value of property differs from last year's total assessed value by 5.38%. 3, the tax rate, which would levy the same amount of property taxes as last year, when multiplied by the new total assessed value of property taxes, would be 1.079475169418887 per $100 of assessed value. 4, North Platte Public Schools proposes to adopt a property tax request that will cause its tax rate to be 1.088095 per $100 of assessed value. 5, based on the proposed property tax request and changes in other revenue, the total operating budget of North Platte Public Schools will decrease last year's budget by 13.99%. 6, a copy of this resolution be certified and forwarded to the county clerk on or before October 15th, 2022.
What Matt read was some of the points that we had to identify at the joint public hearing last night. So all we're really doing is letting the patrons know once again, after our joint public hearing last night, the same information that was provided there.
Okay, that's Matt's motion. So,
I second it.
okay, second by Angela.
That was so much harder than math.
Any more discussion?
I think just a couple things to point out. Again, I know Stuart highlights this every year during our budget session, but we have no involvement in setting the valuations of the county. That's not something that the school district does. Also, Stuart mentioned that approximately 50% of our general fund is through property taxes. Obviously, we would like that number to be less as well. I think we've done everything we can as a district to look at our spending and make sure that we're spending resourcefully and using those tax dollars to the best of our students and our taxpayers. In my mind, there's really only a few ways to reduce the tax levy. We could reduce our tax request, which I don't think we can reduce it any more than we have at this point. We can grow our tax base, which hopefully will be happening in the next few years. We've already seen some of that through some of the improvements that are going on in the community, and hopefully that will continue. And the only other way is to have more state aid. And there's only 49 people in Lincoln that can control what happens with that. So obviously, I'm not saying that it's on the state to do this alone, but I think we've done everything we can to reduce our tax requests as much as we can and still be able to provide for our students, which is our mission. And so I appreciate Stuart and Dr. Rhodes spending time on this and going through and looking at what they think they could eliminate or reduce in order to help reduce that tax request. And so I'm happy with where we are. Again, we'd obviously like to be less, but I think with still being able to fulfill our mission, this is what we need to do.
I think one of the other things that we also know, we talk about the budget every single month. We'll start again next month, right, Stuart?
We will.
Talking
Very
about
limited.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we'll start talking about next year and do that. And we do it every month. And I agree. What we have to do is think about what's the best for our students in North Platte Public Schools. So other comments? Roll call, Sheila.
Skip Altick.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Mark Nicholson.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye. That motion passes. That was the only purpose of this meeting, was to do those two action items. So I will take a motion for adjournment. Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Roll call, Sheila.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Mark Nicholson. Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Skip Altick.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.